What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Roxette, as well as a Sleepy Luca. And as you can see in the title, we're going to do a 2-for-1 as we move close to the end of Crash Boom Bang 1994. And at least on the surface of it, both songs seem to be running in a direction similar to a lot of other Roxette tunes, which is to say, the realm of romance and emotional relationships. Obviously, I could be wrong, but when I looked at the song titles, that's what it made me think. The first tune, or the third to last track, is See Me, and the second to last tune, or penultimate one, is Better Off on Her Own. So See Me, at least as I look at it, it makes me think of someone who is trying to be perceived by another, whether that's someone who they are not in a relationship with and they'd like to be recognized as a potential mate or partner, or maybe even someone who is in a relationship with the person they're speaking to, but who feels their emotions or their experiences are not being acknowledged and regarded in a way they should be by their partner. So it feels like there is a lack of comfort or a discontent by the person who is saying to another, see me, in that request or entreaty. And the second title is even more interesting to me because it sounds like it's coming from a third party. It's not better off on my own, better off without you, something like that. It's better off on her own, as if it's a, again, third party observer, a friend, someone who is aware of the relationship or situation that the first person is in, but who thinks it's not a good fit for them. I suppose it could be spoken about yourself in the third person. I suppose it could even be issued by the partner that, look, I try to make it work, but I just think she's better off on her own. So I'm not quite sure what's afoot, but it definitely is an interesting way to phrase the sentiment. So let's listen, and I'll pause after we hear the first one before we start the second one. This is the third to last tune on Roxette's Crash Boom Bang, See Me, followed by Better Off on Her Own. fade, which, you know, I've talked about it before. If you're going to do a fade, let it gradually peter out. So, yeah, it feels like it's definitely in the realm I was thinking, but a more nuanced meaning of the phrase. She's saying, like, she knows this guy loves, or she knows that he knows she loves him, but she can't bring herself to say it, so she wants to be seen in that way, and that he has her heart in his gentle hand. So it sounds like there's a implicit acknowledgement maybe in both directions, but it's not out on the surface, and so she's trying to do whatever she can to be seen, and saying ultimately, I don't have anything to hide, but perhaps she still can't quite bring it to the surface. So yeah, it sounds like a complicated emotional situation, but one that is perhaps not at an impasse, and not such that she's not being acknowledged or regarded as a romantic possibility at all. So yeah, it feels like it's an ongoing story, and maybe one in which she eventually is going to have to speak up. So yeah, as I said, it feels like a emotional attachment, but one that is still not fully realized, and by being visible in that way, she's hoping that perhaps he will take the step to say, hey, you know what, I know the way you feel, and you know, I know that I have your heart. So that's the way it struck me on a first listen. Sonically, a deep, almost like ambient or even like religious church type of tune. It had that, you know, maybe organ feel, and those string synths and parts that felt very like devotional, even sacred in the emotional content. And definitely Marie at the lower end of her register, it felt like. She was singing sort of deep and heavy in some moments, which could relate to that built-up emotion that just can't quite get out and sing into the heights. So not sure if that was a deliberate motif, but it felt like it might be. So yeah, let's listen to now Better Off on Her Own and see what that's all about.
My girl came home to me just the other day, acting okay. I was reading alone in my favorite room. The TV was on. May I be excused for not telling the truth? 'Cause she's gone, she said. She's better off on her own.
So he's saying, after she said it to him,
head, much better off on her own. My girl knocked on the door to the place I usually refer to as home.
damn.
I died, shoelace untied. She looked in my eyes, small and surprised, and God closed every gate. The moon fell into the lake. Boy, she's gone adrift. She's better off on her own. She closed, then she left. Much better off on her own. Sitting naked by the windowsill, watching cars upon the hill.
Did I hear that right?
Am I sleeping? I was dreaming. For just a moment, time stood still. Hey! Better off on her own. Better off on her own. Now she's gone. She said she's better off on her own. She turned her head.
Yeah, so a pair-led tune vocally, which I'm always intrigued by, just to see, are we going to hear both of them? Is it going to be only Marie? I feel like it's been a much rarer occasion when we hear only pair. Now, we didn't hear only pair. Marie was definitely there, but it was in a more supporting role, and we really only heard her, overtake his vocals in a couple moments where it was like a delayed vocal, like finishing the phrase that he was working or expressing. So, yeah, it did sound like one of the possibilities I raised, that it was actually the partner speaking about her, but he wasn't saying like, I tried to make it work and I couldn't do it. I think she's better off on her own. He's saying she came to me and she told me that she's better off on her own, and she locked the doors to a place that used to be home for me, and I was in my favorite room just reading, just doing my thing, and suddenly this happened and now the gates are closed and locked. And it feels like there's a bunch of lines which could be taken literally and would be an impactful, sad expression of the state of their relationship, but of course metaphorically, figuratively, those work very well. And yeah, it sounds like he's not happy about this, but there was a point where he said the line, she's better off on her own, without prefacing it by saying that that's what he was told. So maybe he's eventually realizing that, that's just the way it has to be. There was that line about watching cars. Was she sitting by the window naked? I don't know if I heard that line correctly. If I didn't, I apologize, but I was like, wait, did I hear that right? So I don't know, if whatever the specifics of that line, I don't know if that's after she's been told, or she told him that, or whether he's reflecting back to times when they were happier and they were living in that same home together. But again, it sounds like a relationship that has run its course, and the woman has decided that she's better off on her own, and she's turning her head, she's not coming back, she's made the decision, and he's just trying to not even put the pieces back together, just trying to make sense of what's happened and try to, get some semblance of clarity on the issue. So, yeah, a sad tune, seemingly emotionally. Sonically, it sounded like a 60s, not like a hippie tune, but it had, the strummed guitar, and then there was the organ that came in. It felt very old style. It felt, like I said, late 60s, early 70s, that type of sonic environment. Definitely, excuse me. Definitely different than the, danceable synth pop of a lot of their tunes, or even the heavier, slower ballad type of tracks that I've heard. So, sonically a very interesting one, and again, in part because of how short it was. I'm going to check now. We'll see if Luca allows this to happen. So yeah, just under 3 minutes, so definitely a shorter one relative to a number of their other tracks. Either way, when we come back for the final tune on the album, it'll be Always Breaking My Heart. So once again, in their wheelhouse in terms of lyrical content. In any case, let me know what you think, and I will see you then. Peace.